Hey, what's up, black people out there? It's your main man, Muck, along with my partner, Killa, and this is Talking Black. Welcome to the new episode. Happy Friday out there, all my people. We want you to, what's up, Killa?
What's up? Oh, just chilling on a Friday night.
Friday night. Yeah, man. Yeah, good time to talk to my people. If you're out there listening anywhere, if you're on the net, if you're on, we got YouTube. If you're out there and you're listening from the Facebook app, anywhere, we welcome you guys to the conversation. But we also want you to be listening from Media Room 360 TV. Download the app. Go to your Google Play Store or your App Store. If you have an Android, download the app. It's free. You can catch a lot of great content that we have here on Media Room 360. This is a black-owned station, female-owned station, empowering our people to do better, man, and listen and explore our creative side here. If you have some content that you'd like to share, think would be beneficial for the people, hey, reach out to us. Media Room 360. Miss Shawnee Scott's putting it down for the culture, and we're here to let you know, hey, what's going on. We're talking black to black people about the black experience and being black in America. It's a little different being black here than being black anywhere else. But this is we're speaking to all to the Africans of the diaspora, anywhere you may be. We welcome you to listen in, join the conversation about what it is being black. We love to hear your experiences. We share our experiences as well. If you're not black and you're just here listening because you enjoy diversity and culture, we welcome you too. And if you're just here to hate on it and be negative about everything that's said, welcome you too, because like we said on the show, we're speaking nothing but truth. And if it is not the truth, then it's just our opinion anyway. So we good with it. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my man, Killa. What do you do?
Oh, it's all good, Muck. You tuned into the Muck and Killa, the latest edition of the Muck and Killa Talking Black podcast, where we discuss the elements of our current events and share stories of our trials and our triumphs. Today, we're having a conversation on the topic of law. This is the fifth area of people activity, where Neely Fuller has defined his thoughts on the subject in the series of a suggestion. So today, we're going to be sharing that. So.
What's up, Mel?
Yeah. So what's the good word, Muck? I mean, you know, you had a good week so far?
Man, so far so good, man. This I've been doing a lot of studying, man, about just different topics, man. A lot of things are coming to light to me that I've been confused about for a minute, man. It was really puzzling me. So I had some breakthroughs and caught up with some old colleagues, man, I ain't seen in a while. And yeah, man, it was a pretty good week, man. How about yourself?
It was a good one. You know, made some good connections this week and had some real good conversations and all of what I think we're going to share today on the subject of law.
Yeah.
So let's get into it, man.
What man, what's the law, man? What are we talking about?
You know, the basic definition is a system of rules which a particular country or community recognizes as regulating the actions of its members, and which may enforce by imposing penalties. It may be enforced by imposing penalties. So this is just one of those things. And when we talk about Neely Fuller, just kind of give a background on the book. The purpose of the book is basically directed to the individual and offering victims of white supremacy, racism, suggestions on what they should or should not do in each area of activity. And each week we have an area that we cover. So those 9 areas are entertainment, education, labor, law, economics, religion, sex, war, and/or conflict.
Yeah.
So we live in a codified network where people use codes to express their power in these 9 areas, and they're looking to dominate others within this system. So as African Americans, a collective, we should develop our own code of justice. That means no one is mistreated, and those who need the most help receive the most help constructively. And then he ends it with a famous quote that he has by saying, "If you do not understand white supremacy, how it works, everything else you think you understand will only confuse you." So those are some of the good things. And his suggestions in this area is to observe and study all things and all people without being troublesome. Learn who is doing what and how and why. So we'll start with that today and kind of go into the different aspects of this topic of law.
Yeah, man, just the definition alone kind of made me uneasy, man. It's like this is somebody else's ideal of what should be happening. I know they say we decided as a group, like, I'm saying what the laws are, but I really don't feel like personally I got a choice in the laws. I'm saying these do seem imposed on me a little bit. Like I ain't helped create none of this madness. All these rules that they got, I wasn't the one that created them. I was just brought here. And a lot of it seems very unfair to me. I mean, a lot of it's good. A lot of it seems very unfair and excessive. I mean, like we be having laws about shit that, like, man, I think we could have saved the paper, but
this is all true. I mean, did you hear about the oldest and longest surviving juvenile lifer was released from prison at the age of 83? You hear about that?
So hold up, I thought he got life.
He got life.
Yeah.
He actually ended up serving 68 years in a Pennsylvania prison. His name was Joe LeJean. Yeah, Joe LeJean. He was sentenced to life without parole at a 1-day trial in 1953.
What they say he did?
Well, actually the state of Pennsylvania led the nation for putting the most youth behind bars for life without parole when the Supreme Court last addressed the issue in 2016, which was only 4 years ago.
Wow.
It was deemed by the 8th Amendment, which says that, excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines be imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishment should be inflicted. And he was actually convicted for participating with 4 other youth in the stabbing of 8 men during a night of drinking. 2 of the men died. Although LeJean said he didn't kill anyone, he did admit to stabbing a victim who survived. And he was 15 years old at the time of the crime. So he turned down a chance to be released in 2016 because the offer included a parole requirement. LeJean basically said he deserved to be free without no restrictions. So as a result, he stayed in prison until a judge ruled last November that he should be released within 90 days. Now, to add to that, LeJohn also turned down an offer of clemency from the Pennsylvania's governor at the time in 1970. That also included a requirement for the rest of his life to be under parole. Yeah.
So he's turning this stuff because he don't even want parole. Wow.
So basically, when he got released, he said, "I feel good." This is a quote from LeJohn. He said, "I feel good." He told the Washington Post after his release, and he said, "When you get life, you have no hope, especially if you give up and you don't make plans like I made plans." That's his quote. And they didn't ask him, well, what was his plan? It was to experience freedom.
Wow.
And that's profound, ain't it?
Yeah. To experience freedom. Man, you know what? I've said this before. And just being in this country, I don't ever really feel free. You know, I've never really felt completely free. You know, and so, you know, I know Nina Simone got this song. I think it may be "I Want to Be Free" or whatever it is, but she sung that, and I remember hearing that not too long ago, and I could just feel the passion that comes through the song. Like, man, you don't know what it's like to be free if you ain't never been free. But this freedom sounds like something I would like to enjoy, but man, I just can't. I ain't seen to really found it yet.
Well, I mean, you know, do we even really understand that? Because, you know, all the images are created by people that have the power. All of the books are written by people who have the resources. All of the content it's not a diverse, you know, foundation, you know, in this country. Even the laws that were created were not created in a diverse environment.
Yeah.
You often hear older people say, well, they didn't create this country with the idea of us being involved. Therefore, you know, we don't have a lot of influence on how they execute those laws. You know, we'll get into a little bit more of that later. But yeah, man, what you think about that?
Man, like I said, I think that's a critical component. If these words, these laws are being created by somebody, and supposedly in this society, and I say supposedly because I'm honestly not as active as I should be, so I can't definitively say that it does or doesn't work. But the right to vote and get involved in politics and knowing who we are electing to represent us to make these laws, I think that's become really clear to me just a second ago when you read the definition. Like, these motherfuckers are really determining like the lives of people. Like, bro was in jail for 60-some years of that's his life. I know they didn't give him life, but basically from the time he was 15 to the good parts of his life, he was a prisoner, man. That doesn't feel good.
No, but the fact that he was able to create a world in his mind, he was in control of the outcomes that he experienced, you know, in his mind,
because
right?
That's a good point.
And he didn't accept any solution that wasn't a solution that he was comfortable with.
Yeah, no, that
and that for him was
freedom.
Yes,
I mean, I get it, you know, because I get it. He's basically kept his mind alive to possibilities. And you keep your mind set on the possibilities, you never really feel trapped. So then I think what happens is people feel trapped. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't feel free. I feel like I'm striving for something, but that I haven't reached yet, but I don't feel trapped. And I think a lot of people get to the point where they just feel trapped in their situation, and then they give up, and then it's all hope's lost. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the sad part is that you know, if we don't create for ourselves our own codified, you know, process or world, we'll be, you know, it's kind of like what Audre Lorde was talking about being, you know, defining ourselves. If we don't define ourselves for ourselves, we'll be trapped the other people's idea of who we are.
Yes.
I think it's that's actually playing itself out in our reality today, right? We a lot of people who adhere to the law out of fear, out of lack of understanding, and they never create a free, experience for themselves. They just adhere to what's already in place.
Without much thought to it. Yeah, I mean, because when you think about a lot, like I said earlier, a lot of the laws, they don't really make sense. A lot of them are antiquated, or I mean, just not really practical. And we do that all the time. And I'm not saying being cautious, but if you pull up to a four-way stop, and like you're really the only one on the road, like nobody's out but you sit there and we wait till the light turns green because that's the law. And I'm not saying go running through red lights. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I think people have enough common sense to not have to have that law to say, hey, I'm not gonna go if somebody else is there. Like I don't think we needed a law that say if you go through this red light, then I need to penalize you for that.
But you know what's funny is that now they got cameras that will detect if you run the light and send you in the mail.
Like
just so you don't think about running the light just because ain't nobody there. Make sure this thing stays in place. I think it's free thinking is not as accepted as adhering to the status quo to keep things going in a certain direction. And I think we are somewhat disruptors in a way where we're showcasing to people our different talents so that we can find solutions that are hiding in plain sight, that we're not being able to see because we can't bring our full selves to this experience called life.
No, I agree with you, man. Like I say, none of this was created. None of this I created. Right? Everything was in place when I got here as a child. And you learn by watching, you learn by listening to those that came before you, and then you just kind of figure it out. You just figure out where the mess hall is. Where you go to the cafeteria because you got in line. When you went to kindergarten, you didn't know what class you just got in line. And next thing you know, you followed everybody and you ended up in the right class, supposedly. But without any questions about why do we need to get there in this line? Why do we need a line to get there? Why couldn't we done it in the circle? You know what I'm saying? Or just thinking outside of the normal, okay, I'm just going along to get along. And not to say being a disruptor is a negative term, especially if you're, if somebody's about to fall off a cliff, I'm pretty sure they want you to tap them on the shoulder or grab them and stop them before they fell over. So disruption is it could be a good thing depending on what you're disrupting and getting people to be aware of. So, these laws that are governing us, we need to start understanding how they got there, first of all. When we talk about history and how we go back and we study a lot of things that happened before we got here to figure out why we're in the situation that we're in now.
Yeah, a question that I had as we thought about the topic this week was, who's going to police the people who made the laws? And are they subject to the same laws, or is it just for you, people that look like you and me? When we look out in our society, when it seems like other people are breaking laws, it doesn't seem, and Michelle, and we'll get into Michelle Alexander in a second. It doesn't seem like people are getting the same same time for the same crime.
We
Speaking of Michelle Alexander, she wrote the new Jim Crow, mass incarceration in the age of colorblindness. She says, a quote from her is, "This is a chess game being played, and we need to stop looking and start seeing." Now that was published back in 2010. So It's an older book, but still, I think it's something that makes sense in today's world.
Yeah. So we're fresh off of the election, and everybody was up in arms about the Trump and the right wing extremists and the Antifa and the left, the leftists and the socialist movement and all this stuff, man. We just been bombarded with to the point where they stormed a bunch of vigilantes or insurrectionists. They stormed the Capitol. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're in this type of climate in our history right now in 2020. And she said that 10 years ago, and I've been studying some information from when people have been saying this since 1920. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people are saying, hey, y'all need to start watching the motherfuckers that's making these laws. I mean,
right.
And it's not ironic at all that they stormed the Capitol, because that's where the lawmakers are. They didn't storm the White House where the president is. They stormed the people who made the laws. And I know people got kind of confused about that or not, but it's like, so why the White House is supposed to be running stuff? Is that true?
Well, I mean, when you look at the structure, it's three branches of government. You got your executive, which is the president, the legislative, which is the Senate,
and they make the laws.
Yeah, and your judicial branch. So the legislative branch is the one those are the lawmakers.
Those are lawmakers. Yeah, and we don't pay near as much attention to the election of those individuals as we do the one that's in the presidency or the governorship or the mayorship.
Right.
We want to look at that one person and put all the the onus on them, but all the executive branch does, all the president can do is enforce the laws that are made by the Congress and the legislative branches.
Right.
So when we talk about power and demagoguery and authoritarianism and things like that, totalitarianism, it always signifies that we're looking for a dictator type. To watch out for the Antichrist as if it's just going to be one individual, or it's going to be the next Hitler. We're looking for that one individual when it could possibly be a group of individuals that are working together, a small group of people that happen to be making the rules.
And this is where white supremacy does take effect, I think, because there's a lot of confusion and deception in these systems where it's hard to determine who is who's for who, and then and people are agents that are perpetuating this status quo within these other groups. And so like I said, there's a lot of confusion there. And so hopefully tonight we'll clear some of that up.
Yeah, definitely.
We can start to see clearer.
Yeah.
And make some changes in our communities and in the minds of those who want to make those types of changes, and have a real conversation. Because I think that especially in our demographic, we get used a lot and separated, even though we vote in blocks. So 90+% of us vote for a similar representative
platform. Yeah.
Is that necessarily the best interest of our community?
Yeah.
And when we actually look at it, I've got to say that I don't know if it's serving.
Yeah. I definitely think you're right. If we look at the state of what we call the Black community, especially the heart of the Black community,
Martin Luther King Boulevard.
Martin Luther King, which is always in the ghetto. And let me ask you this: why do they call everybody else? They got neighborhoods. Why do they call ours the ghetto? Why is it the Negro ghetto, but it's the white neighborhoods? But why the ghetto for the Negroes and the Blacks and the niggas? They live in the ghetto,
That's because somebody else has got a plan for those people, for us in those neighborhoods. And when you control the neighborhood, then you get to name it whatever you want.
I guess so. So you just implied that we don't even control the area where we live at.
Do we? Yeah, I mean, you got to ask the question: do we own the land? Do we own the politicians? All the structure. No. I would say no.
Yeah,
I would say no. And
I would agree.
That's got to change if we want to have any kind of upward mobility, or if we want to stop our children from getting shot in the street, if we want to stop black on black crime.
Yeah.
But again, there's a lot of things in the background that are controlling things that produce the results that we're seeing. So it's definitely not on the surface. So the law is definitely it's an area for me personally where I've struggled in my life just trying to understand, even though I hadn't, have a lot of history of breaking any laws, but it's been a struggle just to make sure I understand what's really going on to make the best decisions for my life.
It's funny how they don't teach us about the laws. I mean, our education doesn't really inform you much about what your rights are and what the laws permit and prohibit growing up. As if
you know what's funny?
What's that?
Is when they say ignorance is not a defense.
Yeah.
Just because you don't know the law don't mean we're not going to apply it to you.
Exactly. So don't give that excuse that we didn't teach you, but they don't teach us. And it would seem to me that law is such a big profession, like it's so academic, that you got to go to all these schools and spend all this time to get a law degree and to become a lawyer and represent people. But you give a brother 60 days in jail and he come out and he know all the laws and how they work.
Because he got the time.
All you got to do is give him the books and give him some time to study and to digest it. We all pretty much got an understanding of what the rules are, but like we're saying, that's not something they tell you until they already got you in their grasp.
Yeah, there's so many other elements though that prevent or slow down the ability to understand what it is we're really dealing with.
Yeah,
going back to Michelle Alexander, she's been cited in judicial decisions, and she spent nearly 250 weeks on her book. Spent 250 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list, and has been cited in judicial decisions and adopted in campus-wide community research, and has inspired a generation of racial justice activists, motivated by her unforgettable argument that we have not ended the racial caste in America. We've merely redesigned it. So, the funny thing is that laws will change as we advance in our understanding.
Yeah.
So that, so it used to be, we had slavery and that was the law.
Yeah.
And then when they abolished slavery, they said, well, we can only enslave you if you are in prison.
Yeah. If you commit a crime and become a criminal, now we can enslave you.
Right.
Like slavery is okay in certain situations. Like you're a criminal, you should be able to be enslaved. Like the slavery ain't the bad part.
Right. But that's the capitalistic nature of these laws, and when we're looked at as a subject to a system that we're not supposed to really participate in, and people actually get mad when we have these kind of conversations.
Yeah, no, they do. I mean, because it's obvious that they don't want people to know these rules. Because anytime you have rules, like when you play a game, football, basketball, boxing, when the boxing match starts and the two opponents get there in the middle of the ring, the ref says, hey, he goes over the rule. He said, I went over him in the back. I'm going to go over him again. Before we start fighting, no hitting here. You know what the rules are.
Right.
But they get us out here and they don't educate us on the rules. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm saying they, and I think that's part of the problem because I ain't never hear the other opponent, tell old boy the rules in a boxing match. The one opponent don't tell the other opponent the rules. The referee told them, right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. But
who's the referee?
Yeah, but here it don't even matter because whoever your trainer was that prepared you for this fight should have told you the rules, and you should have known them. But I don't think Black people are educating Black people on the rules well enough, or it's that we don't want to listen to each other. We want to try to find a motherfucker that made the law and listen to him. And I get that. I understand why you want to do that, to get it firsthand. But if somebody knows the laws because they've been involved in it and they studied it, you might want to listen.
Right. Well, I mean, it's that old adage of, if you in the same shoes I'm in, why should I listen to you? You ain't no better than me. And there's so much self-hate and dysfunction based on our experience in this country that we don't talk about, that lends itself to how we interact with one another. So you can't be an authority to me if we're in the same shoes. And that's an unfortunate reality that we actually play. That plays out every day, right?
Yeah. But we're saying if we hold out, then there's no game to be played. But man, they making laws regardless of we participating anyway. So, you might as well try to participate because ain't no holding out of them. If we're in a land and the law of the land is the law of the land, then you either gotta get with it or you're gonna spend 68 years of your life behind bars because somebody's making laws, and that's just the human nature of dominance. I don't care, and we talk about white supremacy because that's the dynamic that we live here in America. But this happens all over the world with all sorts of different people, and it's religious division, it's racial divisions, it's ethnicity divisions, it's economic divisions, it's this tribe against that tribe.
It's all
activity. It's all human activity. So no matter how you slice it up, the game is being played. And like I said, I didn't make the rules. I just showed up here, so I got to figure them out. Not to say that you go along with the way that they play the game, but I will say that if you got to create your own game plan or your own strategy, and that's what we're talking about here.
Well, and that's the rub. I mean, the people who created the current laws are in power, and if people do look a certain way. I know people get tired of hearing about this racial divide, but because we don't talk about that, it continues to grow, and there is no real diversity in our system that we're living in. We're really under the imperialism of those people who are in power, who have the most resources. And some people will say, well, there are, what about Jay-Z? What about Barack Obama? And it's like, well, they represent a very small percentage of the entire, population of African Americans, and there's other groups that are experiencing a similar reality that we're faced as well because of those numbers. I think that, from a global standpoint, that's why there's a lot of population tailoring that's trying to be, executed on and reduce the population. And you hear this conversation going on. And they're using the legislation to execute on these goals. And it's kind of like Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It's like, you first start out on standing up, right? And they say 90% of fights end up on the ground. And if you don't know how to fight on the ground, it's over for you.
Hey, you think just because you done knock somebody down that you done won, you jump down there on them and get rear naked choked.
Yeah, there's a whole other strategy when you're on the ground. And you can't throw punches like you can standing up. And so, I think that's where we have to continue to have a conversation and share strategies around how to actually nullify some of these things in our reality that are holding us back in terms of the legislation. I mean, I oftentimes feel like I can't fully express myself out of fear of, being retaliated against in some way.
Yeah.
But
that's part of the design. I think that fear we started from young, man. You know what I'm saying? With the conditioning from our parents and our surrounding, man. They, it's like we quick to tell each other what we can and can't do. Like, we some hating ass people on each other. We be hating like a motherfucker on each other. And
that though, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, dude, I would say this: the forces that got us divided against the white people are the same forces that got us divided amongst ourselves.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So it's about division and confusion, like we always say. But what's so confusing is trying to figure out which one of them motherfuckers hit me. You know what I'm saying? That's where the rub is. You don't know where the blows are coming from. So you blaming everybody. You blame everybody with a fist.
Everybody's the blame.
Yeah, you blame everybody that got a fist is the one that must have hit you, because you don't know who it is that hit you.
Nah, yeah, it's confusing, it's deceptive, and there's nobody there to really clear that up until you get to the court.
Yeah.
And then at that point,
and then when you get to that game, so think about this, bro. How many people in America? It's 300 and something million, or is it 400?
370 million plus, yeah.
370 million plus. It's a lot of people, man. The Supreme Court got 9 justices. Like, there's 9 people.
Wow.
That it got the supreme authority judgment on the land.
And how much influence do people that live in this country have on who's on that Supreme Court? I mean, if you look at
zero.
What did they do to Barack Obama his last year? They didn't even allow him to they didn't even want to listen to adding Merrick Garland to the Supreme Court. They told him, this is your last year, man. You out of here. We're not. And the funny thing is that when Trump was in his last 90 days as president, he put somebody on the Supreme Court. And so those things to me are representations of the unequal nature of the world we're living in.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, it does make sense, but it
makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense to me when you talk about just the definition alone. If I control the laws of the land based on my moral compass, I rule the world. That's a very powerful position to be in, especially for somebody that's seeking power, this power-thirsty tyrant, to say, oh, if I control the laws and the behaviors of people, I'm essentially God.
Well, I mean, it used to be law that black people get their ass whooped with impunity. That was law. Slavery was a law, and mistreating people was okay. They used to have remember the black codes.
Yeah.
Remember Dred Scott.
Yeah, they still got black codes, but they still out there.
But these are things that, as a community, we got to be more aware of, so that we can, maybe fight back isn't the right word, but we can at least protect our kids, protect our communities, protect, our ideology and culture, which we're at an extreme disadvantage.
Yeah.
Just based on the subject.
No, and I think the reason, one of the reasons that where does this idea come from that and I'm not anybody out there can share this. Maybe more black people don't have an opinion different than this, but I get the impression and the feeling that most black people believe that something's not legit if it's all black. It's got to be a white person involved with the shit in order for it to legitimize it. Where do we have? Yeah, to be authentic, it's got to have a white. We always include a white person. Come on in, man, and help us build this shit. But when they build this shit, they don't never ask you to come in unless they working your ass for free or little or nothing.
Well, it's like if you create a business, you know, a lot of times they don't even come to support your business.
What? They not. And well, your chicken got to be on point, and they will come see you.
You gotta be Popeye.
You got hey, put a black lady on the box, nigga. Them pancakes got to be better if Aunt your mama made them. They'll come see us.
Ain't your mama.
Shit, and they ain't your mama. Yeah, like they'll come support shit
right.
that they know we good at. They gonna come see you play ball.
Or what they only allow us to be good at, because I think that there's the norms.
There's some truth to that.
Yeah, I mean the norms in which they say that we can only do certain things is not even true. Like, you know, there are people in various different areas and disciplines that are doing great things that don't get any. You know, you can have a brother or sister who's doing a fantastic job, but don't get any notoriety.
Yeah.
And we have to look at that as some sort of law or code that keeps that down. I mean, you know, even with how we speak to one another, we've got to be more disciplined in how we do that, so we can build a community that's strong. I mean, how many, you know, Black Africans do you see? You see Chinatown, you see Germantown, you see all these other culturally rich places. Yeah. But when Black people try to get together and do something for themselves, it seems like it's a threat. And I understand, right? I understand why. But
actually, I don't see why. I really and truly don't see why. I mean, you know, from our standpoint, I'm not talking about from those individuals that don't want to, that are using Black people for an agenda. I'm talking about why Black people don't see the value in us being together. I don't understand why we don't see that shit.
I'll tell you the reason for that, right? I think it is because of a lack of understanding of the history from where you came. And when you're taken from your land and you're placed in a new land and you're disoriented because you're not in your land of origin, and you can't connect back to those great things that have happened, and there's no written, you know, account of your activities. Now a new government or regiment or leadership can sell you what they believe you to be, and you don't have anything to fight that with. So you become, you know, susceptible to all those images, to all the education, the books, and how they want to deliver a message.
I can agree with you on the point of the imaging and the wiping away of the culture, but the land I'm gonna have to disagree with, because we were here thousands of years before they were here. So this was much more our land than it was theirs. So when they got over here, we was already here. So we should have we had an orientation about the way we live way before they got here, even on this continent and all over the world.
Well, you know, if I could just say that our morals and values were also different. So we never thought of owning land.
True.
That's a concept that, you know, our Western, you know, brothers, and I call them our Western brothers.
Yeah, the Western mindset that, you know, it was and like I said, there's some good that I like in our culture. I'm not gonna ever sit here and say that the United States is a 100% bad place, and you know, this is a great country. I'm proud to be an American.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But we're just trying to correct some of the things that are wrong and like things that the country never was about to begin with. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, this country.
And I'm not necessarily talking about their laws, the laws that the United States created. I'm talking about the laws of our ancestors that came over here before them. We had a way of dealing with the land. We had a way of dealing with the Native Americans that was already here. We got along with them. We got along with everybody until they showed up with a different agenda. And what I'm saying is, hey, just because they have a different agenda didn't mean that we had to follow it outside of getting captured and getting taken. Now there's no guns. I know we've been conditioned, but we got to wake up and realizing how beautiful our culture is and come together and express that. Because, that's what I think a lot of the black on black crime and the tension amongst black people is that we don't feel like we can be ourselves in the society. So when I see another black man, I see myself, and I see somebody that can't express him, and it's two people that can't communicate with each other. Just we can't even talk to each other in the right way because we don't know individually. We don't know who we are, and we're confused about who we are individually. So when we see ourselves, we see confusion.
Right, and we respond to that in a dysfunctional way.
In a dysfunctional way.
Always had in this country. That's a historical, and it's trapped in our DNA. When we understand who we are, we can better navigate those challenges that we have. And when you say you look out and see somebody, if they're African American, you look out and you see yourself. It reminds me of police brutality and the reasons why a white officer can easily shoot a black man is basically because they don't see themselves.
They don't see themselves. Exactly.
Now, it should be that a police officer is a part of the community and is a bridge between the area of law and in protecting people. Yeah. And serving the people to a certain degree. Yeah. I saw I saw a video of a brother who was jaywalking.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
Yeah. And so the two police officers who happened to be white were conspiring before they even approached the brother about jaywalking, and that brother died.
Yeah.
Now this happened back in September of last year, but the video just came out this week.
Yeah.
And it was really this exercise of shooting before de-escalation, right?
Yeah.
When we see the issues that a Dylan Roof can shoot up a church and get taken to Burger King on his way to jail because he said he was hungry is,
that your way.
What?
It's your way.
But I mean, my point is that those officers can see themselves and relate to him.
Yeah.
They can't relate to him and I. There's a lot of fear in that exchange. And the funny thing is there's only one species. So we all come from a similar source. This whole construct of race is a man-made concept, but it plays out every day in these 9 areas of activity, and the phenomenon is just appalling to me. And it's going to happen tomorrow. There's going to be another person who gets shot, and they're going to be of color, and there's going to be some kind of misunderstanding of some sort. And justification of why this person got killed.
Okay, yeah, but this I want to go here with this. First of all, the whole idea of policing. I mean, like in a free society where I'm free, if I have an issue with another man, then me and that man need to handle that business. Just me and him. The police, why are the police patrolling an area in the first place looking for shit to happen. Like, I'll call you if I need you. But other than that, I'm supposed to be a grown ass man. I'm supposed to handle my business. If somebody come fucking with my kids, then that's my responsibility to go handle that. You know what I'm saying? So the police don't even need to be involved. Now, if somebody gets killed, let's come investigate the crime. But I don't see the purpose in riding around patrolling, because I don't see them catching motherfuckers in the act, because they still shooting each other in the streets with the police there. So we got like places like Chicago and war-torn areas, ganglands. These ganglands are operating, and the police are still patrolling. So it's obviously not working. They not stopping nothing before it happened. They just, you know what I'm saying? So I don't get the patrol. I mean, I understand the police as a law peacekeeping machine. If I need to keep the peace and I need a mediator to keep the peace because me and you couldn't work out, then you call the officer. So now somebody else can help us work it out. But if we don't need him, ain't no sense in him being in the hood, because we don't need him.
Well, I mean, you have a different set of values than, the people who made this system, which is why you see it the way you see it. And, because we weren't at the table when the laws were being made, there's an imbalance in how they get executed. There's even an imbalance as to how they hire specific people in that area of activity of law. And, I think that those are some good points that you've made. It's just sad that people that aren't being affected by this area of activity don't see anything wrong with the situation as it is, and we seem as if we're complaining, or we seem as if we are disenfranchised and as a group, right? Not as individuals, but as a group. And that is the downfall. It should be that if somebody has an issue, that issue gets addressed and we find a solution. But then there's this bureaucracy and political aspect, which we spoke about in previous shows, that lend itself to keeping things in the same kind of order that we have. Now, I'm not a lawyer, and I don't prescribe to be one, but I am a citizen of this country, and my observation is that there's an imbalance that needs to be addressed, and there's not enough voices who are calling for change so that there's balance in this system. So I don't have to feel, my heart doesn't have to pound when I get pulled over, even though I got my license that's valid, I've got insurance, I don't have any tickets. But I still get scared when I get pulled over, because this person might be having a bad day, or he might be a race soldier who wants to eliminate somebody one day.
Either way. And what we need to understand too, that there's race soldiers on both sides, and there's race soldiers that will pose as the friend of the black man as a covert operation to get us to do shit against our better judgment, posing as a friend. So we got a lot of eyes on motherfuckers that, KKK looking obvious white racists. We can identify those easily, but we have a hard time seeing those actors that pose as our friends, and those actors that are cooperating that also look like us, but they're cooperating with the status quo. So
like Ty said here, they have bad intentions. They're looking out for their own individual interests. Right, and they look like us, but they don't have us in mind.
No, they don't have. They have them in mind. When they see us, they see themselves, but they don't see ourselves in them, or vice versa. They can only identify with themselves. So I look at the world and I can feel that brother's pain. He look at that brother and say, that brother just like me, so he should be doing better.
Right.
That brother, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm doing good. Why he ain't doing good? He just like me.
Well, that goes to the solutions for this evening, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we need to educate ourselves and share our stories and our perspectives, and you know, in an environment where we feel comfortable, like the Muck and Killa Talking Black podcast that you tune into on Media 360. Download the app and check out some of the other content. Males and
Shawnee and Males on the MIC in the morning.
Yep.
Big Binks Break Room at 214.
Recipe for Conversations with Antoinette. Let's Get It Radio, and yours truly, Muck and Killa Talking Black. And so those are some of the things that we've got to feel more comfortable expressing ourselves. And stop this dichotomy, because our white brothers and sisters or whoever don't feel this duality. One way they act one way, and then another way they act another way. I want to be able, without any kind of retribution or attack, be able to say my truth, right?
Yeah.
Like you said at the beginning of the show, like we're telling our truth. It's not something that somebody can tell me is wrong. If I'm living that, you gotta please hear me so we can come to a solution for everybody, you know?
Yeah, but I'm gonna say this, and this is why we're talking black and we're talking to black people. We have a certain level of responsibility amongst black people to do this shit ourselves. We doing a lot of looking for other folks to do some shit and feel our pain. Man, hey man, everybody got some level of pain. Everybody ain't got time to look at your pain, especially if you got the ability to handle that. If you can handle that, and don't call me unless you can't handle it. If you can't handle it, then, you know, hey, call your boy and I got your back. But as an individual, a part of this group, it's upon every individual in the group to do their part to make sure the group is getting where we need to be. And it's too many niggas sitting around pointing fingers and ain't getting their job done. And then we looking at the white man saying, hey, won't you do something? We gotta stop that shit. We gotta start doing some shit. We gotta take ownership of it.
And you know, that becomes a reoccurring theme, right? Like last week, part of the solution was take ownership, entrepreneurship. And this week, again, it's ownership is the key, and that's a mindset.
That's a mindset.
I'll end with this, and I'll let you wrap it up. But you know, I have a family member who asked me, you know, how do you forgive somebody who's done you wrong? And for me, it was to take ownership, because once you fully take ownership, you're not looking to blame anybody else for your circumstances. You're looking to solve the problem for yourself. But so many people are trapped in these behavior patterns where they don't want to take ownership, because that means they got to change their behavior.
That means they got to change their behavior.
And because they don't want it, because they're a slave to their behavior, they can't grow. They can't do anything other than, well, it's your fault that I'm experiencing this, but I'm not there in your life 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all I can judge is what I see. And if I'm not seeing everything, then I'm not in the best position to share with you what a solution is. Only you are. Only you're making decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody else really is.
Nobody is. Yeah. No, definitely. That becomes the key. And this is why we're talking black. I mean, we can talk to white people until we blue in the face or purple in the face. Man, they got their own issues, which they seem like they handle them.
Oh yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying? So we need to maybe we need to handle our own issues for a bit. And,
I think we need to start there for sure. For sure.
You know, that's the start. And come together, man. We've got to start loving each other, man. Because without trust, black people don't seem to have much trust of other black people. And without trust, a society cannot sustain itself. And this is what we're seeing happen amongst our people. We don't trust each other.
When you get your talking points from outside to tell you about the inside, you're never going to trust anybody. That's a recipe for disaster. So
yeah,
we gotta learn our history.
yeah,
We've got to, be honest with ourselves, and we've got to be willing to change our behavior and stop
if it's
played.
not working. Yeah.
If it's not working.
If it's not working, because obviously what we've been doing for the last 150 years, no, actually not even that, because at a point we had Black Wall Street, we had Deep Ellum, Dallas, we had Detroit and different places, Harlem, that were thriving, whole communities where there were ownership. Over the last 100 years, man, we fell off. I mean, but it shows us that we can do it. We've done it before, and we need to get back to understanding how they did that, what code of conduct that they had, and what value system that we don't have to look too far in the past. I mean, like we don't have to go back to Egypt, or we don't have to go back to Mali to see that our people here have done some great things that we can learn from, and not keep making these same dumbass mistakes that we're making. Because I don't see much community development happening in the last 50 years. And we got one
foot on the gas and 1 foot on the brake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great show, man.
Yeah, good show, man. Yeah. Hey, thanks for everybody that joined in, talking with us, Chance, McCarty, Junior, Ty Hosley, Sheree, the wifey. Be safe on the road coming home. And everybody out there that was listening and didn't get a chance to comment, man, we do appreciate you. Love.